welcome back to my onboarding course. In this session, I want to show you how you can use Jupyter notebooks for working with Python code and for development. I really heavily use Jupyter notebooks, so that might be also be a good way for you to develop Python code. But obviously, there are also other methods just with Python files that might also be beneficial. I usually put all of my Jupyter notebooks in a notebooks folder. So this is very easy. How do I recognize a Jupyter notebook? It has this IPy NB ending. So if I want to create a new notebook, I simply do maybe tutorial. What are we now? 4, I guess. Dot IPy NB tutorial. Oh, I hope it's correct. So yeah. So by giving it this ending, it already creates this Jupyter notebook. You see what it does over here is now saying, okay, detecting kernels. So we've gone all through creating a virtual environment in the last tutorial. So of course now we also want to use this virtual environment. For this to work, to display it like this, you need to have Jupyter Lab installed, which is a requirement. You see also over here, so you can just do pip install Jupyter Lab or install these requirements, and then you are good to go. So and if you have this installed, then this will also work. So what you can do now over here is just import, for example, numpy as np. And then, now we have not actually selected the kernel, but we have to then to do Python environments, and then it already shows us, okay, hey, I have this virtual env. It's also 3.10, so this is the virtual environment we have just created, and this virtual environment we want to use to execute this code, and this now also works as we have already installed numpy. So let's say I also really like this because I can just, for example, I create some kind of numpy array, and if I say, okay, plot me this numpy array now, this is it can very quickly show me what I have. And I also like to develop with this. So, for example, let's say we do some kind of function. I don't know, maybe add 10 or whatever. And you see Copilot can already do this. It's not a very difficult task. But for example, okay, I say I develop this function. And if I now do add 10, then and put in a, it will do this. So I really like to use this for development because I can really interactively use my Python code. So if I, for example, I can also do classes with this, for example. Let's say we do a class that is called, I don't know, car. And again, Copilot being very smart. We can give it a name and maybe color as Copilot recommended. And this we also want over here. Then first of all, what you can do in Python, this is also applicable to the functions, obviously. So excuse me for going back here. What I really like is to define the types of the functions, so of the inputs. So this would be np dot nd array, I think is the type. I'm not really sure about the type, but what you can just do is check. So yeah, here we see ND array is correct. I don't know why it's not just array. You can check this out in a NumPy tutorial, but you see, okay, I have the type over here, so I do know what is the input. And then you can also add a short description with this docstring, add 10 to x. Yes, this description is fine. So like this, you already know yeah, what this function does. So for example, if I do now add 10 and I click this arrow here, it says add 10 to x. So I even like now if I'm put this into some library, I haven't used it for a long time, this will really help me out. And this is why I really recommend do the doc strings and also yeah, do the typing here. So this is also what we can do in the class, of course. So name is a string, color is also a string in this case, unfortunately. And maybe we can do also capacity, and this would be an integer. And we say the default capacity for a car is a 5-seater, so we say it's 5. And then probably, yes, it already recommends here what we want to insert. I'm not going to go all into how to program these classes, but just for example, I can now create a car. Maybe it yeah, is a red BMW and it has a capacity of 5 seats. And as this is a default argument, because it is 5 seats, I do not have to specify it. And then, yeah, it has the we get a car object. So if I now type of this object car, and now if I say car.color, it will return red. Okay, so let's say, for example, and this is how I like to develop. This is really depends on your taste. I really enjoy developing like this. And let's say, okay, we have this 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 class now, and maybe this class even has the instance this function self. So I have packaged my code somehow. This would not be a useless class like this, but a proper class or proper function. And I see, yes, it does work. Then what we could do is now, and of course classes can have docstrings, and please add these docstrings. Oh, yeah, it's pretty smart actually. So you see this simple example class, and then yeah, for the constructor, maybe yeah, this is not such a useful docstring usually, but yeah, you see where I'm going. And now these notebooks will become very long if you put all your code in this, and it becomes messy. So this code has to go into Python files or into a package. And what I like to do is then, like once I have it working, I put this out into a separate Python file. So this, for example, could be, and all the source code I usually put into the source folder. Very easy. And we will just do a Python module, which is just a simple Python file, and we will name this car.py. And then we will put simply this code in here. So what this also needs now, you will quickly see. Copilot doesn't recommend it. Import. Oh, yeah, finally. Okay. So we now here have a working class in this car.py file. And what I now like to do in the beginning with the imports is to first of all import this, and then to here now sys.path.append, and then /source. So because we are now, of course, in the notebook directory, and we want to append to our system path here the source directory, so that we have access to all of the modules that are in the source directory. And this you can, yeah, oh, I suck at English. This you can, do just by appending this to the path. So now after this, all of these Python packages and modules that are in this source directory are available to us. So what we can simply do now, in case of our car, it already says here, car is not defined, I don't know this anymore, and Copilot already recommends from car import car. So this is correct. So what we can do is restart our kernel so that we know we are clear. Like I recommend to do this from time to time, otherwise you do not know anymore. Like you have programmed some stuff here, imported some stuff, you do not know, did the car come from the actual import, or is it still defined as I have just deleted it? It might still be in the it might still be defined. So yeah, over here I I recommend to do this. Yeah, so we have restarted it, and we have now also we have imported it, and now if we execute here, it still works because it has imported our car from here. So this is how I would recommend you to develop code, or at least how it works well for me. Of course, you can also do this there are other ways to do this. You can also do this with with Python files, and this here, like probably you have seen this thing. This is also fine, of course. Yeah, but if you're new to it, maybe you can also start like this. And the best thing about this actually is widgets, so that you can interactively play with functions, but this I'm going to show you in the next tutorial. One thing that I still want to show you is how you can also debug with this stuff. So for example, let's say we have our car, the add 10 I added, and say 5. So yeah, this works. And if I now add, for example, some string, yeah, come on, yeah, it said can only concatenate string, not integer to string. So yeah, it does not know how to add 10 to a string, obviously. So in this case, this error message is completely fine, but our function might be more complex. You might have like long error history here that propagates through your code, and then you do not know anymore like what happened. So what you can do is debug cell, and then yeah, it still does the same thing, but you can now, of course, also maybe yeah, if you have sorry, what you can also do now is add car. I don't know if this one will work. Let's see. You can add breakpoints now. Usually, let's see if this already works. I don't know myself, to be honest. No, apparently these do not work, but what definitely works is you can just add breakpoints here in your code. So if I do add 10 and I say I don't know, like this, for example, then I can just add a breakpoint here, and now so I wanted to execute this one, and now if I say add 10, and the string. Still doesn't work. Anyway,